Morning, folks. How is everybody? Glad you're here. We're here on this crisp fall morning. Everything's looking pretty. Uh, Glad you stopped by, but what we're going to do this morning is make biscuits. Now, I know a lot of you are saying, Mark, we know how to make biscuits, and a lot of you do, but keep in mind there's a lot of folks that don't know how to make biscuits. So we're going to start out with easy biscuits, the old whipping cream and self-rising flour biscuits. They're larping good. So all you got, this is super easy. Watch fast, I may work fast. About 2 cups of self-rising flour. And about 1.5 cups of heavy whipping cream. Whooping cream. You know, people used to make biscuits all over the United States, everywhere. It wasn't just farm people, it was city people, and everybody else around the country knew how to make biscuits. And you will find you can get pretty fast making these biscuits, almost as fast as you can whoop out a can of biscuits and get it stripped open and the biscuits all separated. How many out there have made biscuits before by scratch? Now, we got different recipes, but this is a really fast, good little biscuit recipe, and you should try it. I'm not really into recipes. This is really not a cooking show, which we do a little everything. But we got better, I guess you could call them better biscuit recipes. Now, I like to knead this dough a little more than maybe it needs. It seems to make them a little flakier, especially with that flour on the outside of them. You don't have to use a rolling pin. You can just use your hands and mash them out flat. I've got a 12-inch Dutch oven here, so I'm going to make that approximately about the size of a 12-inch Dutch oven. It should fill it up nicely. Now we're going to get our Dutch oven up here. Spray with a little Pam or other cooking spray. Now, we got 2 different size biscuit cutters here this morning. This one, I'm just going to make 1 biscuit. That's going to be the queen biscuit. And the rest of these little biscuits are going to be worker bee biscuits, worker biscuits. If you don't have a biscuit cutter, you can use a tuna can or whatever appropriate size can you want to make your biscuits, or you can get a biscuit cutter. I like these because you can poke them out with your finger instead of having to. Sometimes on a regular biscuit cutter, they get stuck up in there. You know, the cowboys ate a lot of biscuits back in the day. They sure did. And got away from that several years ago. Pillsbury or whoever it was come out with canned biscuits. We have give up quality for convenience over the years. All right, get them biscuits laid in here, all of them around the queen biscuit. Perfect. Now folks, we're going to fire this up, cook these biscuits in this Dutch oven. All right, ready to fire these biscuits up. The coals are hot and ready, so here we go. The lower to the ground the bottom of your oven is, the farther out of a circle you have to make with your coals. The higher the bottom of your oven is off the ground, the closer or the smaller circle you can make around them. I usually dig a little hole right there around the handle because they will cook in the center faster than they cook around the outside. Also, they're talking wind today, folks. It hasn't happened yet. I got the right amount of breeze. I've got this windshield. If the wind kicks up, I'll put that windshield down there. That wind will burn your biscuits quicker than anything or burn anything else. So tell you what we're going to do right now. We're going to have a cup of coffee. While we wait on these biscuits. You always got to have a dang pot of coffee going, ready to drink at any time. We'll be back here in a few minutes. We're going to let them go for 10 minutes or so and then check them. All right, we're going to check these biscuits. I'm going to turn them though. Need to do that ever so often. There'll be hot spots. Now the way I'm going to check them, you might want to come up here and look. I'm going to jiggle that a little bit because them ashes will fall. They're just waiting to fall in there. Oh, they're starting to brown. They still like a little bit longer. They're starting to brown on the bottom. We'll check them again here in a few minutes. I'm going to check them one more time here real quick. You want to keep it checking them pretty regular. Now don't leave the lid up for 5 minutes while you're looking at them. It don't take long. Get that lid back on there. I think I'll sit down, relax for a minute. Whoops. I'm just going to tell you all a biscuit story my dad tells. He's going on 88 years old. He had there was 9 kids. He had 7 brothers, 1 sister. Grandma and Grandpa lived in the old house I grew up in. My great-grandpa died in a farmhouse. We was on a farm. But he tells this story of when they was eating biscuits one morning at the tail end of breakfast, and they had a honey jar about yay big around, you could see through. It was clear glass, and they're sitting there eating their biscuits with honey on it, and one of my uncles, Jack, I believe, said, "I think I see something in that honey." It was darker honey. And they argued back and forth, "No, you don't." Well, they finally said, "Yeah, I see something too." So they took that little honey stick that sits down in that slot in the top of that honey jar on that lid and kind of started dragging it around. And he said, "Yeah, there's something in there. I can feel it." And shoved it over there against that glass where you could see it, and it was a mouse. Yeah, a mouse. Pretty gross. That ended the biscuit eating that morning. But anyway, that's a story that is true. did happen. If you ever growed up in an old house like that, you couldn't keep the mice out of them. And a mouse, if they can get his nose in a hole like where that slot was, they can get their whole body through it. Let's look at these. I think we're getting close. These things, when they start browning, they brown pretty quick, so you don't want to mess around and go out mowing the yard or weed eating or something. You want to stay with it. Oh yeah, look at that. Yep. So, what we're going to do is get rid of these coals. We're going to put some butter on these. A couple of ashes fell in there, but that's not a problem. A little bit of blowing don't hurt anything. We'll pretend it's a birthday cake. All right, I'm gonna get one of the worker bee biscuits, try it out. That's larping. Hey, hope you enjoyed this, maybe learned something. Come back to see us anytime. Hit subscribe, like, follow, whatever. And as always, keep your coffee black and strong and your cast iron seasoned.